Welcome everyone. Happy Saturday. Let's talk about happiness. Buddha taught, if you want to be happier, practice act of kindness, plant seeds of happiness. And last week, I talked about the importance of practicing kindness from the bottom of our heart when the time comes. That was last week's topic. Yeah, our ultimate goal is enlightenment, or ultimate form of mindfulness, equanimity, true peace of mind, and satisfaction. This kind of authentic happiness is possible in this lifetime. When it happens, it doesn't take time. But until our mind will be ready, there is a certain journey. Yeah. So in our day-to-day lives, we are encouraged to practice good deed. And also listening to Dharma is a very important practice. It's like the two wheels of a car. Both are important. While listening to Dharma, we practice 6 parameters. Yeah, so there are 6 kinds of good deeds that Buddha taught, but giving is the easier one. Yeah, kindness or compassion. So that's why in our happiness lab, we always talk about kindness and compassion. And when we practice compassion, kindness, we will end up practicing all the other 5. So we will practice all the 6 kinds of good deed. So practicing act of kindness is a gateway on our spiritual journey. So I emphasized this last week, and we had a question, very good question. When we want to practice kindness, when we are very eager to practice compassion, sometimes we miss the chance, and then later we regret. It's kind of difficult to seize the opportunity and practice kindness from the bottom of our heart, even sacrificing ourselves. Especially when we ourselves in a difficult situation, financially or time-wise or physically, we have difficulty in practicing act of kindness when we are really tired, or when we are pressed with time, or when we don't have much material stuff. It's very difficult to practice kindness. Or sometimes other desire become a hindrance for us to practice kindness. In a sense, we haven't put our 100% trust in Buddha's teaching. We are filled with so much desire for our sake. So in this sense too, practicing kindness is not so easy. And then the question was like this. She encountered with a person, unhoused person, and this person was looked so much trouble. He or she looked in dire poverty. She needs help, or he, but she couldn't give him or her anything, and she missed the opportunity. And later she regretted, or she had sense of guilt. What can we do with such sense of guilt? I think that was her question. And yes, last week, we didn't have enough time. We only had 5 minutes or so. So I just gave a very brief answer, but my answer might have has some misunderstanding among the participants. So I wanted to clarify this and a little go deeper today regarding this question. So I didn't say this, but I should have said this in the first place. Having this sense of guilt is very important, and it's very honorable as a spiritual person. Yeah, only spiritual people have that kind of sense of guilt. It reminded me of one episode which I heard from a Japanese actor. This Japanese actor is now very famous, and he's very passionate in social welfare activity. He already built 50 schools in developing countries in Asia, and he became a foster parent of 152 people, children from Vietnam. There's a certain connection between Vietnam and Japan, so he became foster parent of so many Vietnamese children. And once he confessed in an interview, when he was in his 20s, he visited a hospital. In this hospital, there were so many seriously sick people, and most of them had a lot of blisters on their palms because of their illness. And when they pressed the blister, a lot of yellow pus came out. So after giving performance at the hospital, he went around the beds and tried to shake hands with the patient. But upon seeing those blisters on patient's pus, in his mind, he felt a lot of hesitation. Should I shake hands with him or not? Or with other patients, he was not hesitant to hug the patient, but those patients, he had a lot of hesitation. But anyway, yeah, he shook hands and hugged them, and then after a while, he found he was wearing white suit, pure white suit, but there were so many yellow stains everywhere, and also on his palm. And then he went to the bathroom and tried to wash hands and tried to remove the stain. Yeah, that was very natural behavior, but at that very moment, something came to his mind. Oh, I'm trying to wash those stains all alone. He was trying to wash those stains away. And he realized his kind of negative mindset, which he couldn't reveal in front of those patients. Am I explaining? Does it make sense? Yeah, I cannot explain very well in English. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, and then after this incident, he became more and more passionate in this activity. So he's now in his 70s, I believe. But for the past 50 years, he didn't forget this incident. So I think this was the trigger, not only our physical action or speeches. We try to purify our mind. Having such dirty mind is not acceptable when we trying to practice authentic act of giving. So this is what all the great Buddhist masters did in their practice. The more we see that mind, we want to practice more. One Buddhist master who was active in Japan, snake and scorpion. When we see a snake, what do we feel? we feel we feel disgusted, and we feel dreadful. So this master also sees such mind in himself. That's why he became more enthusiastic in Buddhist training. The actor also confessed what motivated him to start such social welfare activity. It was his mother's teaching. When he was little, his house was so poor. The household was in dire poverty. In such a circumstance, his mother was helping other people, maybe giving money or food to people more who are poorer. Yeah. So his mother didn't care about their own food. Of course, mother wanted to feed her children, but she put priority to other people. That was really mind-boggling from today's standard. In the past, people were practicing such unconditional kindness more and more. People are poorer, much poorer than today. Yeah, I remember when I was very little, our house was also poor. One time we didn't have enough side dish. Our main food was rice, but we didn't have any side dish. What shall we eat, mother? We only have rice. And mother said, have apple. So let's pour soy sauce and we can eat rice with soy sauce and apple. Yeah, it happened many times. Yeah. So, yeah, still people practice passion and act of kindness. So having this, going back to the sense of guilt, this is the motivation for us to practice more kindness. Let me mention one quote from the film Wizard of Oz. I haven't watched this yet, actually, but it's very popular, right? Let me share one screen. There's a character which is called the Tin Woodsman, Woodsman. And he was made of tin, so he didn't have heart. And he said this, you people with hearts have something to guide you and need never do wrong. But I have no heart, and so I must be very careful. So this means he knew very well he had no heart, and therefore he took great care never to be cruel or unkind to anything. Yeah, somebody mentioned this to me, so it's struck a chord with me. So Tin Woodman said he didn't have heart, but actually, I think he had heart. But this awareness is important. Oh, I have kind of self-centeredness. I need to practice authentic kindness, and then we can go forward more and more. Once we think, I'm perfect, I'm very kind, I'm very compassionate, then our self-improvement will stop. So, yeah, last week I didn't explain enough, but this is something very important in our spiritual journey. So yeah, great master of Buddhism in Japan, whose name Shinran said, it's like a venomous snake or scorpion. In other words, poison in our good deed. So we try to purify our good deed. Yeah, somebody mentioned we need to forget about our expectation when we practice good deed. Especially when we do charity, offer to charity or do good deed, some people might criticize us. Like I mentioned, oh, it's like self-advertisement, or you're doing this for your own sake. Actually, to some extent, that's true. I don't deny that, because we have desire for recognition. We want to be praised. This desire is very deep-rooted and deep-seated. Everybody has this. So when we practice kindness, of course, this desire must be working a little bit. Yeah. I don't say there is no such desire, because when we are praised, we feel good. When we are praised, we don't say out loud, but we will smile a bit, right? When we are praised. That's how we feel joyful when we are praised, when our desire, it's our desire being fulfilled. This is human nature. But this is also poison and the snake and the scorpion. So we try to minimize it. That's our practice. With this effort, we can go forward on our spiritual journey. At the end of my talk, let me share our spiritual journey. Yeah, when we started listening to Buddhism, we were here. And then we have a clear goal here. Happiness that doesn't abandon us, through peace of mind, lasting satisfaction, through equanimity. In one word, it's enlightenment. And enlightenment in Buddhism is always depicted or compared to a lotus flower. Yeah. So when it happens, it doesn't take time, but there is a certain journey until our mind is ready. So on this spiritual journey, we need to cultivate our mind. Yeah, cultivate our mind. Our mind is not ready. Our mind is full of wrong view, wrong assumption, and fallacies. Yeah. So by practicing good deed, we will cultivate our mind. So that's why mind is important. So yeah, be the main. It's out anytime, anywhere. When we make effort, when you make a decision, I'm gonna make other people happy. That's the happiness switch. Okay, so share more, but I make a brief stop here, and let's have quick discussion or Q&A.